We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
For 5 years running, it's the OD and the AM with Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Sometimes, as the saying goes, be careful for what you wish, or less grammatically correct, be careful what you wish for, because sometimes you'll get it. And they got it last night. An entertaining event at times. New Mexico United wanted a top-tier Mexican team to come in and play an international friendly, so they got that. And we're down 3-0 at halftime. He got beat 4-2, and it was back and forth in the second half. He had some shoving and some pushing, and I don't know what language they were screaming at each other in as the Mexican team came in from Juarez. But final score, FC Juarez 4 and New Mexico United 2 in an international friendly out of the ball pitch last night. Good morning to you and Merry Thursday. I believe today's the 20th, but I believe it's the beginning of summer today. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. How you living?
Oh, what it do?
Catch a little international friendly last night?
No.
None at all? All right. I'm surprised. I watched it and you didn't. So I saw it and you didn't. All right. 3-0 in the first half. And you could just see the difference, right, in a top-tier Mexican pro team as opposed – it just is what it is. And then they subbed out, did FC Juarez, all 11 of their starters in the second half, and New Mexico United got even. And really, it was nice to see Kalen Ryden hit the back of the net. 3-2, and then a PK late put it away 4-2. But there was some shoving. There were some red cards. In fact it was a double yellow, which turns into a red for Mexico United, so they should have played a man down. But the way I understand it is the Mexican team was saying, look, man, it's a friendly, it's an exhibition. We're trying to get ready for our season. You guys just keep playing 11 on 11. So it was one of those, it was a different game, but interesting. And I love to hear from people who were out there because evidently there was a good FC Juarez following last night and an interesting atmosphere out of the ball pitch. But it doesn't count in the standings, doesn't count in the cup. It's just, another one of those in-season – what are we doing? It's not a league match. It's just how soccer goes, and that's what it was. And you get to test yourself against a top-tier team in another league and see where you are, right? I mean, that's kind of what these are about.
Yeah, and to bring a different energy, fan base, these are always a challenge because the United fans weren't all rosy about it because you got a team that last season finished 15th out of 18.
Oh, wait. On the
FC
broadcast, Tyler told me this is one of the best teams in Liga MX. That's what he told me.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not kidding. That's what he told me. I know
this year.
I know what the facts were like. Yeah.
And then United obviously isn't playing their best squad either in the game because they're focused on staying atop the table.
And they have a match
in the Western Conference with a game on Saturday. So it's a weird dynamic that goes on where your team's getting beat. You're not necessarily playing your best squad there in preseason ramp up, and you're just hopefully trying to enjoy the moment, which is hard for some fans to wrap their mind around because it was just an exhibition.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for me to wrap my mind around something. It's a preseason match for Los Bravos, FC Juarez. They're getting ready to start their season. And so when you step away, from league play to play U.S. Open Cup, and U.S. Open Cup is obviously really important to this club and has been, and it's been something, and I'm not telling you it shouldn't be. And certainly when you step up, it's a knockout round, you step up a competition to play MLS teams, it's a big deal, it's a proving ground. And I actually understand that in the middle of your USL Championship League season. You play an exhibition in the middle of the year, and I always wonder, because JJ, they hype it up to the fans as, oh, this is unbelievable, right? Last year they brought a European team in. This year was a Mexican team. And to your point on the mindset, it's called a friendly. And Eric Quill, their head coach, said, not friendly. I mean, we're competitive. There was a big shoving match right in front of, at the benches yesterday. I don't know what language they were screaming at each other in. And I always try to, I guess I don't get it, the mindset, right? All right, we're going to just take a break in the middle of the season. It's competitive. Is it one of those, if we win, look what we did, man, pound your chest, we beat a top-tier Mexican team, and if you get beat, well, I mean, it's just an exhibition game in the middle of the season.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the mindset for
all about the marketing angle.
And they're really good at that.
Yes.
Yeah. And they played their first team in the first half, and yeah, there were some academy players that got their first look late in the match. But I just always the mindset, okay, let's go out and win, and we got to win, and we don't do friendlies, and we're competitive. Oh well, it was just
yeah. The last thing New Mexico United is going to do is risk any of their impactful players in a meaningful way. With how good a season they're having right now in the USL Championship.
All right. So it's an opportunity, and I get it, and their fans love this, and I think it's wonderful. Another opportunity to sell more tickets. It's not in your season ticket package. They announced over 10,000 yesterday, which is really good on a Wednesday night, and that's what it was. Back at it, and they'll get back into USL Championship play on Saturday at the ball pitch. Colorado Springs Switchbacks will be in town, and they played. I believe they played Tuesday. It was a 3-3 draw that they had. So, if you're out there, I'd love your thoughts. Just was it a different atmosphere with a different fan base in the building? Was it, what did it mean to you as you go through it? Did it feel, or was it just another match, which is cool if that's the way it was too. 505-246-0610 is how to get here today. It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck, 505-246-0610. Emails this morning, Jeff at sportsanimalabq.com, JJ at sportsanimalabq.com. All right, what'd you watch last night? It's the Rockies walking off the Dodgers? I got
family night last night.
Attaboy. All right, would you play games, movies?
We were at afternoon swim session.
Yeah.
Came home, relaxed a little bit, went out to dinner.
Sweet. All right, then.
Straight with the fam.
Look at that. The day after the Stanley Cup final. You know what? We haven't done in a while. Let's go have some dinner and go swim. I understand how it goes, man. I get it. You boys and girls, you got a couple months now. You get baseball. Your first football game, I believe, is in August, middle of August, right? You get the Hall of Fame game, maybe late July. But, yeah, it's a countdown. You get about a 9-10 week window right in here where it's baseball and you get the W and some soccer. And you get your opportunity to, get all that in. That's good for you. It's good for you. All right, I watched the Rockies walk off the Dodgers last night. Rockies played well last night. It was actually an entertaining.
Should have been 2 in a row for the Rockies.
How about the robbery the other night? I mean, even Dodger fans has to say, Teoscar Hernandez, that was a swing. You missed this on, what they say, this would be Tuesday night. Rockies had the Dodgers beat. And with 2 outs in the ninth and 2 strikes, Teoscar Hernandez, the Dodgers right fielder, check swing, should have been strike 3. They checked with the first base umpire, and he said safe. Bud Black lost his mind. And just look, JJ, that I don't know that it was even that close.
It didn't look that close.
It was a swing.
On replay down the first baseline. And you say, all right, we'll go make a play, but that was the play.
That was the play. Next pitch, gone.
And then right after that ball went over the fence, you saw the right fielder just losing his mind.
Yeah.
At the first base umpire.
Yeah.
Got one back. But it still shows you, even a team that's
they care.
Yeah, in last place has an opportunity to beat the Dodgers. And that's one of those games where if you can beat LA, you're going to feel good about it, wherever you are in the standings, especially if you're the Colorado Rockies. And to lose it like they did 2 nights ago, you could see why every player needed to be escorted off the field for Colorado and kept away from that first base ump.
It was interesting last night because they win. Brenton Doyle hit a sacrifice fly with one out in the ninth inning, and that was the walk-off, and they won the game 7-6. And it was, for a team that is 26-48, that is 22 games under 500. For a team that is trailing the Dodgers by, 1,000 games, that you said they were out before. I mean, that's not obvious. But there's 19 games out of first place. The celebration, that walk-off, and I was watching it in the moment. Like, what do you do? And then I think to myself, I think last night had a lot to do with it, don't you?
Yes.
Right? The
Absolutely.
night prior had a lot to do with it, where they had one ripped from them. But it was a good watch last night. It was entertaining last night. Michael Toglia, I don't know that he's coming back to the Isotopes at any point. I mean, now former Isotope had a really, really good night for the Rockies. He went 3 for 4, hit a home run, and had 3 RBIs, 2 for 4, and had 3 RBIs. But big bomb. It was a good watch. I'm going to get to see them tomorrow night. I haven't been to a Rockies game. Gosh, I can't tell you last time I was at that ballpark. You get to see them play the Nationals tomorrow night. I know. It's not the two greatest teams in Major League Baseball.
It's a Friday night at a ballpark.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, you're not getting the award either. Who's picking up our award? Mr. Gilbert going to pick up our award?
They might just have someone DoorDash it to us at this point.
I mean, does Brandon Vogt go up and get it for us? DC's going to be there, isn't he?
I think DC can get it.
I trust him to take care of our award.
I do as well.
All right. So, and have DC give our best to, all JJ's fans who are at the banquet.
You can pull out his notes, be like, I'd like to thank
I will tell you this, and
the 7 people.
JJ, we've been blessed to go to a number of them, and they're a good time. I am bummed I'm missing this one because Joe Diaz is going to the Hall of Fame, and the New Mexico Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And Joe's good people. I worked with Joe for over at Channel 7. I am bummed I'm missing that. All right, let's play radio today. Come on in at 505-246-0610. 505-246-0610. I know we're struggling on the FM side, so if you found us on the AM, on the digital, wherever it is you found us, appreciate you being with us today, and come on in. When we come back, the conversation is not just started. Now they have proposals. How do you feel about the expanded NCAA tournament? It's coming. Eddie Nunez was in here, the athletic director at UNM, the other day. I said, why are we going to destroy, and not destroy, why are we tweaking with the best, maybe it is destroying, the best sporting event we have in our country? They're going to add to it. How many are they going to add? What are the plans? We'll talk about that. And how you feel about that next on the opening drive on a beautiful Thursday on 95.9 FM at AM 610 Sports Channel.
When you have sports mixed with your pop culture.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
If you're drunk,
Blasted,
intoxicated,
ripped, plastered,
destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on? Who are you guys?
Well, sir, I'm going to pick you up at the DWI checkpoint for drunk driving.
and that's when I have to come down to get you out of jail.
Well, temporarily. I'm Judge Torres. They call him the Hammer. Hey, hot off the presses, champ.
I'm real proud of you, honey.
Way to make them happy back home, Captain.
Who's that?
That's your new buddy in jail.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
The theory is it's a bigger percentage. It's more in line with the other sports and college athletics. Opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. So on Wednesday, NCAA officials presented to the Division I conference commissioners at least two. There might be more models of an expanded field for the NCAA tournament, one with 4 teams and one with an additional 8 teams. JJ, nobody's really talking about it, but this would expand the 68-team field to 72 or 76. With additional at-large selections, as well as at least one additional first four site, which I think if Albuquerque can get in on this, then all of a sudden maybe we feel different about this. If Albuquerque could become that Dayton, you know what I mean? I mean, that would be ideal. Any expansion would begin would be the 25-26 season. If the men's event expands, the women's tournament would likely go as well. So as a way of not eliminating the 28 small conference automatic qualifiers, which I don't think, I almost said I don't think, JJ, I almost said I don't think anybody wants that, but I know that there are people who do. The NCAA conference leaders are looking at the addition of at-large selections has been done in the past, so they're planning on retaining the current 64-team bracket. Play-in game winners need a spot in that structure space to be made. So more 10 to 12 seeds originally in the 64 bracket could find themselves having to be in a play-in game. Okay. I mean, what we were saying basically is I think you and I could live with, if you go 4 more, they got the first 4, and I could see that's exactly what they're going to do. They'll play all the 16 teams in a first 4, and probably all the 10 and 11s in to the last 8 at-larges will play in 4 spots.
Yeah, that's the first 4 is constructed right now. I do like that opportunity for 16 seeds. I don't know how I'd feel if every 16 seed had to play themselves
I think that's where it's going.
but that's where it's going. And that's where I think you'll have we'll keep you in, but this is where you get to go. And you know what? Embrace it, because you get the day to yourself. If there's back-to-back games, 16 seeds playing in, people are watching, you're getting your moment, you have a chance to win a game, as opposed to it's easy to get lost when you're a 16 versus a 1 if you have that 12:30 tip-off on a Thursday or Friday. So you can spin it to a positive for that team that makes the NCAA tournament. And I like that that they are talking about making it the last teams in, not trying to force anyone in. If you're not that bubble range, play yourself in. So I think this can work out. It can be a smooth transition to an expansion.
What do we have now? We have you're playing into 2 of the 11 spots and 2 of the 16 spots, right? You're taking 4 teams to play into 2 16s, right? And 4 teams to play into an 11 seed. So, I mean, the way I see it working is they're just going to play, so Longwood's going to play UNC Asheville, and Texas Southern will play, you know what I'm saying? Right? So whoever's on the 16 line, there's going to be more on the 16 line, and they'll play, all 4 of those will play, the way I envision this. And then the way they make it spicy is they're going to pair each one of those with, there'll be power conference teams playing in for those 11. So you're going to have Illinois versus USC, or you'll have, Texas.
Would have been New Mexico last year.
Well, it would have been New Mexico, certainly. Yeah. I mean, it was Boise State. You'll have Nevada. I mean, right? Colorado State was there, weren't they?
Yeah. Was the Mountain West last season?
Yeah.
Could be the Mountain West next.
Mountain West tournament. Yeah. All right, and so you say, all right, we got 6 in, and they're all playing in the play, which is very, very possible. So you're okay with it?
I am, because it's happening, and to me, I want to see as smooth a transition as possible, and even the 72 or 76 team model, which is the additions to the play-in, seems like it keeps everything good, and then once that Thursday hits, you got the same exact vibe, the same exact energy for March Madness.
I think you're right. And at some point, people are going to have to accept that those play-in games are the NCAA tournament, or they don't. I guess they don't have to accept it. But at some point, you're going to have to realize that. Whether you accept it or not is another story. If you're a 10 or an 11 or whatever line they put you on, New Mexico's going to go play Northwestern in Dayton in the first 4 games. Or Nevada's going to go play Iowa State in the first 4 games. And that's the NCAA tournament. But it does sound like that's where this thing's going. And it's been going that way for a long time. They've wanted this thing to expand. And I know coaches have wanted it. Now, look, coaches get bonused on getting the NCAA tournament. And they just want what they think is an equal opportunity. Well, look, how many teams get into the baseball tournament? And look at how many teams go bowling. And yeah. And look at how many more people watch your tournament than watch the baseball tournament. Well, they watch it all year long. This is where it's going. Last time, what was it? 1980? So in 75, the tournament expanded to 32. That allowed a second team to represent a conference in addition to its champion. 79, it went to 40. Then to 48 in 1980. And in 1985, is when the tournament went to the 64-team format. And the tournament expanded by a single team to create a playing game in 2011 to the 68. So the format, the basic 64-team format was 1985 is when it went to the format that we love so much. That's where this thing's going. I think JJ's point is right. Embrace it because it's coming. It's real. They're not everybody seems to want this. And the big conferences have gotten bigger. There's 18 teams and 16-team leagues, and they want 12 of their damn teams in it. And you know what, boys and girls? They are going to get it. Look at NCAA baseball, dude. I mean, it was all ACC and SEC, right? The College World Series. That's all it was. Florida State, North Carolina, Tennessee, Texas A&M. I mean, this is where we are. And you kind of got to get used to it. All right, when we come back, 505-246-0610. Have this conversation. I kind of actually like it. Charlie Woods is making some noise. The son of Tiger. And maybe you heard Boomer Esiason talking about it. He is qualified for a big tournament, and I'll tell you what that is. Who is going to have a better career? Who's set up for more success? Ronnie or Charlie? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Channel.
This report.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Good day, good week. It's the opening drive, Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Earlier this week, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the PGA Tour announced that Tiger Woods has an exemption into their signature events. He's won over 80 PGA tournaments. He's the only one who hits that criteria, and so he can play in whatever he wants, and I think it's a great move. It's a great move because he won't over-abuse it, but as much Tiger as you can get is good for golf, is good for the game. Ken says, I'd have taken a different approach on the email, Jeff at sportsanalyticq.com. He says, I'd have taken a different approach to get the 15-time major circus back on the court, Jeff. I'd have passed a rule. You aren't eligible for the majors if you don't play in at least a few of these other signature events. Okay. They did it their way. You do it yours. Right?
How would you want to hurt yourself?
Meaning, well, he wouldn't play, so he wouldn't play.
Yeah.
So there'd be none.
Like, I physically can't do this. Well, then you can't play, Tiger. Well, that's great for everyone.
Yeah, then nobody will. What? Yeah, then nobody will. I mean, I get it. And I get it, and that's kind of the rule for everybody else. This guy's a little different. This guy's earned to be a little bit different. This guy is one of one when it comes to his influence on that sport, his trajectory for that sport. Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, they were good. If you want to argue Jack Nicklaus was better, that's a real conversation. But he is one of one when it comes to his influence in regards to that sports popularity. There's none other. And so, yeah, they made a special rule for him. That's what happens when you are that damn good.
It's also what you can do in an individual sport. It's not like, well, we have the legacy Lakers over here, and we're just going to put them into every NBA final.
And Magic gets to play in everyone. Look, you treat some players differently. There was that story of when Bill Belichick was assistant coach with the Giants under Bill Parcells. And he told Parcells that Lawrence Taylor showed up for the meeting 4 minutes late. And you know how Parcells was, right? Parcells was a stickler. If you're not 5 minutes early, you're late for a meeting. And Lawrence Taylor showed up 4 minutes late. And Parcells' response to Belichick was, why the hell did you start the meeting without Lawrence Taylor? Right? Why the hell did you start the meeting? Yeah, some players just get treated differently. That's how that is. So Charlie Woods qualified yesterday. Charlie is Tiger's son. He's 15 years old, earned his way into his first USGA championship. He had the leading score amongst qualifiers for the U.S. Junior Amateur. A pretty prestigious tournament. It'll be held next month at Oakland Hills in Michigan, outside of Detroit. Charlie recovered from, he started out bogey, double bogey. The crummy start. Sounds like you and me. And then he finished 1 under 71. Quote Charlie, I didn't play great my first 2 holes, but I played really good the last 16. I just told myself not to make any more bogeys or doubles. I took advantage of some nice birdie looks when I had them. Tiger, by the way, was 14 when he qualified for his first U.S. Junior Championship, and Charlie's 15. All of a sudden, something you kind of want to watch, isn't it?
It's super interesting.
Isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All of a sudden, Now, I remember last summer watching this, and that Paul Shipley, who was the low amateur this last weekend at the U.S. Open, I remember watching him, and he was from Ohio State, and I want to say the other guy was North Carolina State, but I remember that event because I feel like they played it in Colorado, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I remember watching that, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. So they play, the way they do this, JJ, there's 200 and something players, 264 players. They go through 2 rounds of stroke play, and then they narrow it down to 64 players for match play. They do a bracket. It was really cool. But all of a sudden, JJ, I kind of want to watch the U.S. Amateur and see how this kid does.
And this is, I know you mentioned Bronny James and the feeling of being a kid of an all-time great.
Oh.
And this is, I think people are going to feel a lot different about this because you can get exemptions, but at this point, like Charlie, you can't fake his way in anything. Can't be like, hey, my kid's not playing in this tournament unless you do this, that, or this. Like, he has to go out there and play and earn his way in.
Numbers are the numbers. Who do you think has a better career? I mean, we're watching 2 sons of 2 legends kind of come up to that point, right? Bronny is going to get drafted a week from today. Or at least we think so. If not, he's going to he'll free agent sign with Lake. Charlie's 15, but starting to come into his own and starting to come onto the play. Who do you think, when it's all said and done, has a better career?
I would bet on Charlie. He has more control over it.
More control meaning?
Bronny could be, let's see. If people believe that, despite what everyone is saying, that LeBron James is going to force his kid onto the Lakers, that does not mean that he's going to get to play. Because even if LeBron is out there on the court and he's subbing into his son and he's just getting cooked and toasted, like, that's not going to go over well.
So I think that's right. I think I don't know which either of them are going to have a great, unbelievable, oh my goodness, career, and there's no way either one of them lives up to that. Okay, and that's what's got to be so tough about this. How does one of these? Because I'm trying to think of an all-time great who had there's been plenty of really good players whose sons have played or daughters have played and been really good at what they do. Neither one of them will live up to their dad, and I hope that's okay as both these young men go on in their career. I'm rooting for Bronny James. You know I'm not a LeBron fan, but I'm rooting for his kid. Because his kid seems like he's a relatively grounded kid, as grounded as you can be growing up like that, right? And I hope he gets an opportunity. Like, he's not 6'8" and an Adonis and play bully ball like his dad. He's 6'2". He's a different kind of a player. And he's going to get a chance. Now, he's going to get a chance. He kind of gets moved to the front of the line because he's LeBron's kid. Charlie doesn't get moved to the front of the line because you have to earn your way. You have to, with scores. He doesn't get an exemption to the U.S. Amateur because he's Tiger's kid. He has to earn his way in.
Bronny will still have to earn his way in.
No, he will. He's gonna have to. No, he won't have to earn his way in. He's gonna have to earn his way to
on
stay.
The court.
He's got to earn right on the court.
Because all of a sudden,
yeah.
leading up to the NBA Combine, everyone was talking about Bronny James off-ball wing player.
Yep.
And then he shows up, and you realize that this kid with shoes on is barely 6'2". That's not an off-ball wing player.
Yeah, I think he was under 6'2", right? Without shoes.
And he's not that shooter yet. So all of a sudden, you look and you say, well, can you develop into a point guard, a position you haven't played, a position that no one was talking to you about? And that is why, Rich Paul is so adamant that he wants Bronny going to a team to develop, because this dude is nowhere close to being able to get on an NBA floor.
Tell me how Rich Paul says you can't develop on a two-way contract, meaning going back and forth to the G League or going to the G League and play. You tell me how you develop better by sitting at the end of an NBA bench as opposed to playing in Santa Cruz. How do you develop better by not playing? I read that quote the other day. I read it 4 times. I don't understand it. What's the logic? Well, he's going to be around the NBA players and he's going to get that coaching. So he's going to develop more sitting on the bench for the Lakers as opposed to playing for the D-League Lakers or Santa Cruz Warriors or whatever. I don't know any more D-League Lakers. Do you? The Thunderbirds.
Mad Ants.
Where are they? Fort Wayne?
Fort Wayne.
I like that.
Maine Red Claws.
Ooh, I don't know that. Where's that?
Maine.
Really? Makes sense. It's kind of cool. It's all the way up in Maine. They're not sending Bronny James to Maine. I promise you that. Promise you. On the other side, Charlie has been playing since he's, 5, 6, 7 years old. I heard people say, well, there's no physical talent. Like, Bronny, did he get his dad's physical talent? This is just golf. I don't know, man. There's some physical skill. There's some athleticism that goes into golf. You got to grind on golf. I heard somebody say this the other day, and I'm like, whoa. Can Charlie Woods save golf? I'm like, whoa, I didn't even think. Does golf need saving right now? Is golf at a point, am I in my own little bubble right now? Does golf need saving? Now, golf needs saving from its split. This ridiculous, this live PGA thing that at some point they got to come together on this. But does golf need saving from a popularity standpoint right now? It feels to me like it's popular.
No, it feels like it's settled into the new norm. Like to think that it's ever going to have a player like Tiger Woods, it's not. And it's not going to be Charlie Woods. Like he might.
Charlie Woods will be Caitlin Clark if he ever gets onto the PGA Tour. For a minute. For a minute. You're going to, tell me, you're not going to want to watch Charlie Woods' first PGA event? And second? And
but
third?
That's not saving golf.
I agree with you.
Like a summer of.
Right. Well, if he's good, then we're going to want to keep watching. Right? No, I agree with you. I guess my question is, does golf need saving? I heard somebody say, well, Charlie can save golf. Oh, save golf, dude. There are so many young studs, and it's an international game now. It feels to me as deep as it's ever been. And the people were saying, it's a really, watered down field. It's not very good. I'm like, what are we watching? It felt like such a lazy take to me. Or am I just lost in the golf bubble that, I enjoy it so much that you.
No, I think saving golf is the wrong term. I think it could create a Caitlin Clark spike for golf.
No.
But it's not dead. Like, look at what we've seen in the majors this season and how much talk there was over Roy McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau. Like, there's interest. There's stars for the game of golf. Is there crossover stars to that extent?
Only when they get arrested.
Yeah. Like the Scotty Scheffler story was fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no.
But it's in a solid place. I don't think saving golf is the right term there. Could it have a major spark? Absolutely. If you have the argument, whatever, the Michael Jordan versus LeBron James thing, like the son, one of the greatest to ever do it, and if he's actually good, that's going to get people's attention.
You said something that actually is really, really interesting to me, and we got to take this break. I want to talk about it on the other side. You said crossover stars. When we come back, I want to ask you the question, and I want to think about it during the break. How many crossover stars are there really in sports right now? Like the NBA and the NFL have a couple, I think, but crossover stars. Yeah, Tiger was one. Serena was one. How many do we really have in sports right now? And are we ripe for something like that? 505, one of them's in the WNBA. 505-246-06. I love your thoughts on that. The emails are open. 505-246-0610. I should give you the whole damn number. 505-246-0610. Emails Jeff at sportsanimалabq.com. JJ at sportsanimалabq.com. Adrian's working today. We're live on the Facebook, the OD, and the AM. You can watch us on ProView Network's YouTube channel and Comcast Channel 26. Hey, if you've been the victim of a home or business break-in, you know all too well. It usually takes hours, if not days, for police to respond. They simply just don't have enough officers to cover all the calls they get from service. When it's your home, when it's your business, you need a much quicker response. How about 7 minutes or less? That's normally the response time for customers of International Protective Service. IPS has officers strategically placed around Albuquerque and now in Santa Fe. They react quickly. So many times they catch criminals in the act, they can detain them. They call police, and the police come and get them. IPS also provides standing guards if you need eyes on your property around the clock. And they install alarms and camera systems and have state-of-the-art facility to monitor those cameras 24/7. It raises the level of security around your home and your business. They're there at my house every day. Officer Crespin comes by on a regular basis. It's just the presence. They're always checking on our place. Our neighbors now use IPS. It's given us, for a lot of years now, a real sense of security. Look, who's watching your home when you're away on summer break? Don't let it be the bad. A quick response to your alarm or standing guards at your business is what IPS does, and it lets you sleep better at night. You can't prevent all the crime, but if you got no protection, you're most likely to be victimized. Call IPS. The number is 505-897-2420. 505-897-2420. They're online at ipsglobal.com. Passionate about making Albuquerque and Santa Fe better and safer places to live and work.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Sports Animal. Charlie Wood's going to play in the U.S. Amateur Championship, 15 years old. Does that make you want to watch it? It makes me all of a sudden, wow, yeah, no, I want to see that. And then we're talking about Bronny James, and he's got a chance to be better. Which stud son will have a better career? And JJ talked about crossover stars. JJ, how many crossover stars do we have in American sports? I mean, you're right. I don't think there's any in golf. There's any in tennis. Serena and Tiger out. Brady's out. I think Mahomes is one of them. Kelsey?
Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce even more so than Mahomes.
Okay. But
that's why that stuff is so impactful, because they're few and far between. You don't just get one every year.
No, 100%. And a crossover star to me means, does your Aunt Sally, who doesn't watch sports, know who that person is? Right? The person who, I'll give you one, Bill Belichick right now. But I mean, Peyton Manning was, right? He was on all these commercials. What's the NFL got? They got, I think, Mahomes and Kelsey. Do they have another one? I'm not sure they do. Usually it's Cowboys quarterback. I don't think Dak. I mean, Dak's doing commercials, but I don't think everybody knows who he is. The NBA's got, I think LeBron still is. I think Steph Curry still is. He's crossed over. He did his
yeah, I think Steph was close on that list.
Miniature golf show, and I think, you know, with what he does with his wife, I think Steph Curry is. Do they have more? Maybe we think that there's always been a whole lot more than there have been. But I can't tell you that I think Kevin Durant is, or Giannis Antetokounmpo is. I know. And maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Maybe there's only one or two that do crossover. I don't think baseball has one, but Shohei probably. But nobody knows anything about Shohei. And does your Aunt Sally know who Shohei is?
I don't think so. Like, he's an international sports
star.
But not to the level of just everyone knowing who.
They don't have anything close, do they?
Not in baseball right now.
I don't. You know, Fernando Tatis was on his way for a minute, but he's just not. So when you mentioned it, it just kind of rang a bell in my head. You know, which one of them has an opportunity to be a crossover star? And I'm like, whoa. I don't know that we've got more than 5 or 6 crossover sports stars in our country right now. Is there anybody in soccer that is a crossover? Now, maybe when the Olympics hit, we'll have a few. Simone Biles probably would be one.
You say soccer?
Yeah, does soccer have one?
I think Messi.
Okay, that's
kind
fair.
of that.
Yeah, he's international,
Close
and
enough.
he'll cross over. Yeah, I think that's probably right. But, I mean, golf doesn't have one. I mean, Tiger, like, it's still Tiger because he's playing a little bit. But there's nobody outside of that. Venus is gone. I think the NBA It's LeBron and Steph. Am I missing someone in the NBA? There's great players, but not somebody that you go down to your local canasta club and catch my mom and your aunt playing, right? There's not that many. All my mom ever tells me, now she'll know all the baseball players because she watches every Dodger game. I never heard of him. Mom, just because you haven't heard of someone doesn't mean he's not any good. Addie, what band are you going to see? Megan Thee Stallion, never heard of him. I know, Mom. That's what crossover means, right?
Yes.
I mean, and Caitlin Clark. Who, by the way, her team has won 3 in a row. You see that? Can we talk basketball with Caitlin Clark? Does it matter when she has a double and they win 3 in a row? Does it matter that we could just talk basketball, or does it got to be controversy and race and all this other stuff? Or can we?
Well, it's got to be controversy.
All right. She did 22 last night. Second double. Beaver won their 3rd straight. They beat Washington. 88-81. They're 5-10. 18, 12, and 6. She had 4 steals. According to ESPN Stats and Information, Clark is the first rookie in W history to have 40 points, 15 rebounds, 15 assists in a 2-game span. But she's only good because, you know, she's pretty damn good. She's crossover though, right, JJ?
Yes, she is.
All right. All right, what do you think about a salary cap for quarterbacks in the National Football League? A salary cap for quarterbacks. Run that through your mind. Talk about that next. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Hour.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here. And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Knocking, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom. Boom.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier Sweet Rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
And the best to those people down there. We're thinking about them completely. It's the opening drive, Jeff Sabieta, JJ Buck. I don't have an answer for this one. It's on the text line, JJ. Why is it playing Spanish on the radio station on the FM that you normally plays you guys? Award-winning radio all over your AM dial. Yeah, we're all over the AM. If you go north, so if you get into Santa Fe, our frequency turns into Spanish radio. It does. There's a Spanish station up there that has the same 95.9. I know we're having struggles on the FM this morning, so thank you for finding us on the AM. But can't tell you why you're finding that unless you're up that way. All right, we've been talking a lot about the NCAA tournament potentially expanding and Charlie Woods having some success. JJ, we talk so much about money of quarterbacks on this show, and it's mind-boggling. And as Gato Roberto told me last week, we live on the same planet, but we live in a different world. And he's right. And so, with every quarterback contract now that comes out having to be the biggest, there's been a concern. There's been a how sustainable is it? I know Stigler and I had this conversation yesterday. And you've got, I don't know, if is unproven the right way. I mean, certainly there's some inconsistency among quarterbacks, but you panic. You get a guy that you think is going to be good, and it's his turn for an extension. You give him an extension, right? Because it's really hard to find somebody good to play that position. It's just the way it's been, right? And that guy that gets the last guy gets the biggest contract. So some team owners are privately discussing the possibility of a separate cap on quarterback salary. Tom Pelissero, who's an NFL guy, went on the Rich Eisen show, and he explained it this way. He said, is that at some point you want quarterback numbers to not go over a certain percent of your salary. Didn't we get an email the other day, JJ? Somebody said that only once in NFL history has a quarterback who made more than 13% of the salary cap won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I think it's a relatively short sample size in terms of the magnitude of quarterback contracts now versus the past.
Say that again.
I think as the quarterback contracts have always been big,
yeah.
But I wonder how many times they've eclipsed that number, or even
the percentage
in the past, even on the big quarterback deals. It's fascinating.
It really is. So he tried to put it in perspective. So Joe Burrow, Bengals, earns an NFL leading average of $55 million per year on the contract extension that he signed back in 2023. So that means his deal alone is projected to account for an average of nearly 25% of the Bengals' entire salary cap. That leaves 75% for the rest of the roster. So here's 54 other dudes, or whatever the number is. You guys go deal with the other 75. You divvy that up. One dude's got 25%. When you look at it that way, it makes sense. There's an NBA model. And again, the NBA numbers are bonkers too. But so the NBA has a max and a super max restriction for free agent long-term contracts. So it limits the number of players that a team can sign to a certain dollar amount. And it caps the percentage of the salary cap for which maximum deals account. that hasn't gained a lot of traction amongst the NFL. Why? Well, because many teams have paid their quarterback, contributing to where they are. So there's another point on this. If an NFL team feels that they are forced into a cost-prohibitive deal for a quarterback, what do? They can always simply not sign the quarterback, right? Okay. It's easier said than done. Quarterback reset. JJ, you've talked about this, probably every day in the last 2 years. The risk that's there. So you prioritize the unknown over the familiar, and then if the concern is dedicating too much salary cap space to one player, then it's up to the organization to figure it out, and hopefully they find a good alternative. JJ, I think it would be beneficial to everybody except for quarterbacks. And hence I think it's a good idea that there is a cap at, and they come to the percentage, whether it's 13, 15. But it feels to me if you got one dude making a quarter of your cap, it's prohibitive. You don't like it at all.
It's never going to pass because you can't cap one position. And then the players, because the players would never willingly put a cap on a percentage of salary that they can get, because then other positions would be hit harder, and you push that running back number down.
So you think they would start slotting every position?
Just don't pay them that much money. You don't have to. It's on these teams to negotiate.
How do you reel that back in?
You don't offer Dak Prescott $60 million if you don't think he's worth $60 million a year.
But somebody else can offer somebody else.
Then let someone else do it.
Yeah, but that resets the market. So I don't know how you reel it back. Was what you're saying, the fear is, okay, well, quarterbacks are going to be capped at 15, and gosh, running backs are going to be capped at 6. And so you think they're going to, is that the fear that they'll go all the way down?
Well, and then how does, because the one thing, even if you're paying a quarterback a boatload of money, it affects you. You have to deal with. That's the whole point of a salary cap.
There's a strategy.
So how does a quarterback salary cap sounds good, but kind of part of playing this game is taking the risk of overpaying a bad quarterback, and you get hurt. That's why the league is trying to present parity. That's why the league is trying to have a level playing field, and it's why it works in the NFL.
But you just got to figure it out.
Does that number change for the rest of the players? Because the salary cap's not going to stay the same. Are we adding money?
Well, you're adding money. You're adding money every year.
No, I mean, are we? What does the salary cap for the rest of the team look like? Do they just say we're taking out X amount of money here and then making it quarterback money?
Well, theoretically, yes. Theoretically, then if you cap, let's just use the number 15%. Okay, just for this conversation, Joe Burrow.
So it's not. So you're saying you're just capping a player, you're not making something new.
You're capping that position, so theoretically now you have more money to spread around the rest of your roster. So if you cap Joe Burrow at 15%, so what would he make? He'd have to get by on $48 million or something like that, or $45 million. So you'd have another $10 million to spread around the rest of your roster.
Well, to make that decision in negotiations.
Well, that's where it's got to be in the CBA agreement, doesn't it?
No, I don't think this ever passes.
Oh, so you think it's got to be?
I don't think. Like, if you don't want to pay him, and if someone else does.
But I guess the conversation starts at how do you. So the next guy up is Dak, and he thinks he's as good as Trevor Lawrence or Justin Herbert or all these guys making 55, and he wants 58. And you say, we can't do that. It hampers. We're not going to do that. The answer is go get it somewhere else. So, I mean,
you're right. It's. If someone pays it, then why are we so worried about someone paying it?
And that's what they're all trying to do, is reel this thing back in to say, we're not looking to spend less money. I don't hear this as the owner saying, we don't want to pay, we don't want to spend less. We just want to be able to spread it around to other dudes and not hamper.
Then don't pay that quarterback.
And I think you're right. So any of us, and I don't
like
know.
It's one thing that's like you say it and you're like, yeah, you know how hard this would be to do and to get the players on board.
Well,
and to cap one position, and then the owners are going to be pushing to cap other positions, and then you just have this all-out battle.
Yeah, if you start capping every position, you got a problem. Then why wouldn't you? This is a budget. you make X number of dollars, right? You got to decide what you're spending on your entertainment, on your travel, on your kids' school, on food. I mean, it's a budget. I don't know that it's much different than a guy running a business. I'll put it another way, if you want me to put it in football terms. Many of you play fantasy football with a salary cap, right? Like, I go into that league and there's a $300 salary cap, and I'm like, dude, how much should I?
And if you want to spend $80 on Christian McCaffrey, have fun building the rest
80,
of your
dude,
roster.
it's 107, 110 on Christian
Or whatever,
McCaffrey.
like,
Do that. Yeah,
your
and then
cap.
they try to find dollar receivers, and there's Puka Nacua, right? You got a certain number to spend. What you're saying is just spend it however you want to do it. Now, on the other side, there's no negotiation in your fantasy football league, right? The other guy doesn't have to accept it. Quarterbacks are just going, hell no, this is a free market. Nobody's capping how much money you can earn as an owner, right? Nobody's capping how much money you can earn as an insurance salesman. Nobody's capping how many endorsements you can do or whatever, right? Why are you capping my number?
I also look at it as I think that's part of the competitive balance of a league that has salary caps. Is if you want to pay someone that much money, go for it. But don't complain when you don't have money for anyone else. You're like, well, this is just the way it is. Well, go draft a different quarterback then. There's young quarterbacks coming out. Take your chance doing that.
And I guess at some point, if they're just saying, that's what we're going to pay you, the guy's not going to walk away from the $50 million, right? He's probably going to play for 50. Yeah, and then you got the agent saying, well, my dude's not coming to play. All right. I got Jake Browning.
Yes, you do. To me, that's part of the intrigue of all this. Like, you don't have to hand him that contract. Well, someone else will. Okay, then let them eat it if you don't think he's worth it.
And I guess worth it is the key term, right? What is market value?
So this is just since 1994 when the salary cap was instituted.
Okay. That's a pretty good sample size. That's 30 years.
Yeah. And it's the magic number's 13%.
And that's what that dude told us in the email, right? So if you capped it at 15 or 16%, you think that would be detrimental?
I don't think it would be detrimental. I just don't see how it gets passed. And you can do that if you want. Just saying, hey, this is the way we want to build our roster. This is what we're presenting to. The next contract doesn't have to be the biggest one, even though they're making it that.
So, and it would be collusion if all the owners came out and said, you know what, industry standard is going to be, our quarterback doesn't make more than 16%, right? That would be collusion.
Absolutely.
So you couldn't do that. But if I'm Jerry Jones or if I'm Bob Kraft, I say, you know what, we've kind of really done the analytics. And only once in the history of the game has a quarterback making more than 13% of the cap won. 13% is going to be our cap. In an extreme case, we might go up to 15, but that's just the way. That's our standard. And I guess your big time agents and Lee Steinbergs and those guys would go, fine. My guy's going to go play for the Jets because they'll pay him $50 million, $58 million, $68 million, whatever the new number is going to be. I mean, how long before it's $100 million?
At this point, not long, because no one is stepping away.
Jerry Jones kind of is. I mean, he kind of is.
He kind of is, but this is hurting himself more than helping, because whether or not Dak Prescott plays for the Cowboys next year, he still has a massive cap hit for that team.
Yeah, he does. No, that's going to
kill him. So that's a problem. They have messed up this situation.
No, 100%. And he's going to go get money somewhere else. I don't. What do you think as you go through it? I don't hate the idea, JJ. I agree with you. It would be really, really hard to implement. And how do you get this done? And how do you get it passed? The reality is, it benefits the other dudes. There's more money to go around to my tight end and my left tackle and my cornerback. So the reality is, under the cap, there should be more money to go around. You would think it would help your roster. It would help everybody else in the league. But I get where you're saying. It's hard to just say we're capping that position. And then why would they say, well, we're going to cap that position? And all of a sudden you're slotted and everything. It makes it really tough. I don't know that that's the intent of this, but I don't know that wouldn't be the result. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM And AM 670 Sports Animal, love to hear your thoughts.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Cross-Camara here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit hanswhitlerauto.com.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman! Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!
driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Murcia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler.
I don't know where the hell it is. Here it is. It's from Gopher. He says, are you taking requests, Jeff? Can you play the bizarre final seconds of Oklahoma City's homecoming crowd going nuts and Sushan is stunned? They lost on a wild pitch. They got away. The Isotopes did last night in the 11th inning, or yesterday afternoon. Got away from the catcher, and I guess he went to make the tag, and I didn't see it. But Josh was saying it certainly looked like the runner was out of the baseline to avoid the catcher, and Pedro Lopez came out and argued that it was a walk-off in the 11th inning, and Oklahoma City snapped Isotopes' 3-game win streak yesterday, beating Albuquerque by a score of, it was 1 run. I think it was 5-4. All right. Stay on the NFL for a minute. Anthony Richardson. Is he kind of one of the intriguing unknowns this year? I mean, we're talking about all the new rookie quarterbacks. There's 6 rookie quarterbacks. I don't know how many of them will start. I would, if I guess, I would say 3 or 4 on opening day. Anthony Richardson was one of them last year. Had a really intriguing start early, and then got broken. He was the 4th overall pick last year. He had a concussion in week 2. Then he had that season-ending shoulder.
The intriguing start was 1 game.
Well, no, there were some flashes, don't you think, of him? When you watched him, you didn't say, "Whoa!" I mean, I want to see more.
Absolutely do.
Yeah,
but I think this is going to be a longer process than people anticipate.
Right, so what do you do with him? How do you reel him in to make him realize that, look, man, you started 4 games as a rookie and you got broken. You just can't run around and run over dudes in this league. You've got to get out of bounds and protect yourself. And look, the Colts drafted him. He's excellent at making plays. He gets out. He can do things with his legs. He can break tackles. But Shane Steichen, his coach, said Richardson has to know when to slide or step out of bounds to protect himself. I don't know, will injury do that for you? I mean, is it one of those, I've got to be shown, not told? Oh, damn, I've been shown. And he comes back and he figures it out now?
And you show him a lot of clips of Lamar Jackson and how he's played throughout his career. I mean, some of the changes that he's made as a runner. Because if Anthony Richardson, the expectation is he was going to be able to handle it like Josh Allen. But he got hurt early. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of frustration. Like, wait a second, you're a bigger dude. You should be running over people like Josh Allen. But he's not. Like, his body was just like, nope, not doing this right now. And so he does have to adjust that. And that's when you play at the highest level, you're a quarterback. Those are the things you have to learn how to do. Is you can't be scared, because that is going to make Anthony Richardson successful this season, his legs, because he has a long way to go with the accuracy stuff. This is exactly Josh Allen 2.0, and it is few and far between we see guys able to take that step from college to the NFL.
But now he's a year set back because he basically missed all of this.
And the second injury was his shoulder. Yeah. So this dude has not thrown a lot of passes.
And that's the thing when you talk about his accuracy. His head coach, Shane Steichen, quote, I mean, it's just being smart on when to get down. It's a happy medium. There's a time and a place where it's 4th down and you got to have it, and the game's on the line where you got to get it. But if it's 1st and 10, you scramble and you can make it 2nd and 4 and take a big hit, or make it 2nd and 6 and get down, hey, let's make it 2nd and 6, end quote. And yes, and you got to be smart. I'm going to guess, and we'll find out. I don't know. But I'm going to guess being shown and experience or living it is a whole lot more impactful than someone telling you. Get down. No, man, I've been running over dudes my whole life. Yeah, but welcome to the National Football League, where grown-ass men aren't going to be run over as easily as they were, even in the SEC.
And he only played 13 games in the SEC.
That's all he
played.
played.
13 college starts before. So there's a high ceiling with Anthony Richardson with the athleticism. I think he's in a very good place to develop with Shane Steichen.
I think that's right.
And you just have to be patient. Now, this is a team that, saying that with a quarterback in the NFL right now does not go hand in hand. But with what they've done, Michael Pittman being re-signed, being a legit number 1 wide receiver, Josh Downs, I think, is a really good number 3. Donnie Mitchell in the 2nd round, another vertical threat out of Texas, plus Jonathan Taylor. Like, that is a very solid base for a young quarterback.
So what do you expect out of that team? Because I look at this, JJ, they're going to be in a position where they think they got their guy, right? And I know you think they got their guy too. And you kind of lost a year. And pretty soon we're going to be coming up, Anthony Richardson, they got to make a decision. Are they going to pay? I mean, that's going to happen here soon. Is this year the big year or next year the big year? Prove it.
Well, this year you want to have your confidence. Yeah, like you want to see, all right, this is what we believe he can be.
And that means stay healthy, be accurate.
Stay healthy, see the accuracy improve, make the throws.
They were kind of a surprise. They were a really interesting team.
Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
That's why it's super intriguing to me, too, in Las Vegas. Okay. If he wins that job, like, he can keep you competitive. Now, do you feel like you hit a ceiling with him? Sure. But are the Colts, are the Colts going to be as competitive as they were last year? And you think, absolutely with Anthony Richardson. But I think there's going to be some early bumps in the road. And then if you see that confidence second half of the season, maybe similar to, say, Jordan Love. That's what you're looking for.
100%. Now, if there's a comp, that would be it. Now, he didn't sit out the entire time that Jordan Love did, but basically he lost his rookie year because of injury. But you just got to learn. And I think even Josh Allen learned, man. He's not running over dudes anymore. He's learned to get down, and he's learned, all right, if I need that extra yard to win a game or get a first down, I'll get it. But he's not trying to run over dudes on first down. He figured it out. And by the way, he became a hell of a passer. And he became a lot better. All right, 505-246-0610. 888-922-0610. Another guy coming back from injury. We talked about him a little bit earlier in a different context, Joe Burrow. What's the quarterback story in Cincinnati, and what happens if Joe Burrow isn't ready? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 670 Sports Hour.
Brought to you. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
ProView Networks would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, rip, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number one. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I give you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families. Indeed Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in Burquia. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Spell, get ready!
My coach. My teacher. My older sisters. My grandma. My brother. My tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
And AM 610, the sports animal.
Gopher sent me the Live Nashville schedule. It starts tomorrow, and Bryson will be there. Okay, of course you. Kind of part of their deal, right? Bryson DeChambeau going to be at Live. That's right. He's going to work this week. Rory's not. 505-246-0610. Talking quarterbacks, JJ. Will Joe Burrow be ready? Of course, Joe Burrow had a season-ending wrist injury. He was last year the year he started with a calf injury, then had the wrist injury?
Yes, it was.
Joe Burrow's got the highest per season average salary at $55 million of anybody in the league. He kind of needs a injury-free season, doesn't he?
Kind of would be nice for the Bengals.
Or at least they need it out of him. Jake Browning was their backup. Got his first chance to play. I thought Jake Browning was a decent to good NFL backup. 4-3, 7 starts. They just missed out on the postseason. They were 9-8. What if Joe Burrow's not ready to go? Well, Jake says he's ready to go. Quote, Joe and I have a really good relationship, but I got some strengths too. Where I'm sure there are different things where he's like, oh, okay, that's how you do this. And there's those conversations that I was always helpful before, but there's a whole nother level of, hey, I've been in this offense and I've had to be the trigger guy. So when he has some concern or something, I can relate and we can have that conversation. So I think it's been really good. Jake Browning over his skis, or Jake Browning confident and basically there where, hey, I can help and I'm here if Joe's not ready to go?
Confident.
I agree.
You know, it's unfortunate when this happens to a player, but with Joe Burrow, we've seen it. It was an ACL injury his rookie season. Calf issue. Wrist. It's real.
I think that's right. I have no problem. Look, nobody's telling you, including Jake Browning, that Jake Browning is better than Joe Burrow. What Jake Browning is saying is, dude, I'm here too, and I can help, and I can contribute, and I've been in the fray, and it's not just a guy that's been sitting on the bench. I'm ready to help. I've got a perspective. I've won some games. I'm not telling you I'm Joe Burrow.
No.
But I'm here, and I can win some games.
And this is a part of the conversation that we're having, too, about not just how much you're paying your starting quarterback, but how in the heck do you back him up? Because it's hard enough to find one good starter for all these teams. So if you're investing, you have to have a good backup plan and figure that out.
505-246-0610. Adolph, good morning. You're on the Sports Animal. How you living? Hold on, let me do that again.
Listening to the conversation regarding quarterbacks running or something.
Yeah.
And, I come from an era in which, you had quarterbacks like, Joe Kapp with the Minnesota Vikings and Roman Gabriel, actually running over, linebackers. Well, those days ended a long, long time ago. And just thinking about this, I remember there was a hit on a quarterback for the New England Patriots years ago, and it completely changed the trajectory not only of that franchise, but of the National Football League. Do y'all remember, it might have been a Monday night game years ago when the Patriots were playing the New York Jets. Do y'all remember that game?
I'm not sure I do.
Okay. It was when Mo Lewis hit, I believe it was Drew Bledsoe, when Bledsoe scrambled out of the protection of the pocket, and it was a clean hit, and the hit was so devastating that Drew Bledsoe almost died at halftime in the locker room. And thank goodness they recognized that he wasn't really recovering the way he should have been, and they immediately transported him to the hospital, put him on the operating table after they had done some MRI, some testing, and the hit was so vicious that it actually moved his internal organs, and he was bleeding internally.
No bleed. Really?
That essentially ended Drew Bledsoe's Patriots career. And the guy that stepped in was Tom Brady. Y'all remember that?
No, I didn't remember that was the hit. I knew that he took a hit and went out for a while, and he never got back on the field. I guess I don't remember the hit being that vicious, but you're probably right. Yeah.
It was pulled up on YouTube, and it was a clean hit, but it was a vicious hit, and it literally almost killed him. If it had not gotten him on the operating table, he would have died. And it was Tom Brady who got his chance. And, of course, we all know what happened when Brady made no bones about, if I get a chance, I'll never give the number one job back.
I heard of it.
And remember what the old rule was. You could never lose your job due to injury. But it was Bill Belichick who broke that rule and kept starting Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for taking my call, fellas. I'm out.
It's really good that you got Wally Pipp. Wally Pipp was the guy who got injured when Joe DiMaggio went in and didn't come out for another, million games or whatever. I've been looking through this at backup quarterbacks. I've got the depth charts up. And I look at, because there's such a depth in quarterbacks now, like there's some places you go, all right, I feel pretty good about that. If I had to play Marcus Mariota, I'm okay for a couple of games. Joshua Dobbs for a couple of games. Sam Howell, with what Pittsburgh's got, they seem like they're good. Kenny Pickett's the backup in Philadelphia. Tyrod Taylor with the Jets. Drew Lock with the Giants. And then there's other places you're just going, ooh, right? I mean, Sam Darnold seems like it's right in Minneapolis or J.J. McCarthy, whoever it happens to be. Jimmy Garoppolo's the Rams backup. I forgot Jimmy Garoppolo's the Rams backup. I think I'm good with that.
In a Sean McVay offense? Yes.
I mean, that feels almost as good of a situation as there is. Carson Wentz is the backup to Patrick. Mac Jones is Trevor Lawrence's backup. Joe Flacco's backing up in Indiana. The one I really want to see is Hendon Hooker play. I really want to see Hendon Hooker play. I mean, not that I want Jared Goff to get hurt, but he's a guy I'd love to see play. Jameis is the backup in Cleveland. Jake Browning, of course. Andy Dalton's still in the league. He's backing up in Carolina. Mitchell Trubisky's backing up in Buffalo. So, I mean, you look at places, you go, all right, some places are good because there's so many guys that are still hanging on. But it's hard, man. It's hard. All right, 505-246-0610. When we come back, we'll hit something we hit earlier. I know the audience turns over quite a bit. Conversation has started and is gaining momentum about expanding the NCAA men's basketball tournament. How do you feel about it? And would you feel better if this were to come? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
folks, would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Hans Whitler Automotive, German car maintenance and repair in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Call 505-294-7684 or visit HansWhitlerAuto.com.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543. We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, taint, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like me, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. and Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
The Sports Animal.
NCAA tournament is, in my opinion, and in some of yours, the best sporting event in our country. It lasts for 3 weeks. It is hard to get into the final 68. It's got upsets and intrigue and excitement, and everybody gets involved. The young lady who doesn't watch anything down in accounting. And the older fella upstairs in sales. Your grandparents, your kids. You all get a bracket. Everybody loves it. They're going to mess with it. I hope they don't destroy it. I think the proposals that they have out there probably will not destroy it. It will alter it. NCAA officials on Wednesday presented to Division I conference commissioners a couple of models to expand the field, JJ. One expands the field by 4 to 72 teams. The other one expands it by 8 up to 76. The concept, and we don't know this, but I'm going to assume, would mean all the 16 teams, the 16 seeds would be playing games. And probably all the 11s or something along those lines. I don't love it, but you're getting me to the point where I don't hate it and I will accept it. You know where I will like it more? If Albuquerque can become the next state. You've got all those first 4 games every year in Dayton. Now, I don't know what this would do to this state tournament. You'd have a lot of people locally. You'd have to push the state tournament back a week or whatever, right? And that would be a bummer. And I don't even know how that. Well, I guess no. The state tournament would be the week prior. But JJ, if this place could become that, where Tuesday and Wednesday or whatever it is of NCAA tournament week, we had teams in here and we had games, and you had 2 games on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday. I think I dislike it a lot less.
It would be really neat, a fantastic event to bring to Albuquerque to be a part of the first 4, because the NCAA tournament seems to have sailed unless they can do some restructuring. But I mean, like a first and second round.
Yeah.
But a first 4 type of deal would be, I think, fantastic. And this is where you have to have those conversations. And like, yes, we need to move stuff. This is a big time event, and you can still have your big time high school state basketball tournament, which matters and is meaningful, and figure out a schedule that works.
I don't know.
They're on the.
I don't know what the issue is with the floor exactly. I've heard a lot of different things. But if it is really just 5, 6, 7, 8 feet short, then you jackhammer out the first row on each side of and it costs. But if you went to legislature and said, "Hey, I need the money to whatever I got to do to the pit, and we're going to get the first 4, and we're going to be part of that rotation. We're not part of the rotation. We're going to be one of those sites every year." I think you would get the money. What would you rather be? Would you rather be a first 4 site every year? So would you rather be like Dayton? Or would you rather be back in the rotation to get the first and second rounds every 4th, 5th year? What would you rather be?
First 4 site every year.
Every year, because it's every year, right?
Yes.
And it is the NCAA tournament.
I'm sure that the first agreement would be, X amount of years. But if you can
Well,
get
sure.
into that, show
That you can do it.
you can do it, attendance,
Albuquerque-
facilities, and then that in turn, if you're having success there, would along the way to help bring in upgrades for the facility overall.
I think that's right also. I look at it and I say annually is better than once every fifth year. Well, yeah, but Jeff, the rounds of 64 and 32 are more prestigious than the round of 68 or 72 or 76. You're right. But annually, so Omaha is every year. Oh, we got to get to Omaha. When we talked about the first four last year, as we went through January, February, March, I think we probably said they're going to go to Dayton more than we said they'll be in the first four. Didn't we say the site more than the first four?
You do mix it in there. Yep.
I mean, that'd be pretty cool to get back into that game. I would. All right, then I'd loosen up on the whole thing. And JJ, you've got me to a point now where if they expand by 4 or even 8, I think it keeps the integrity of the bracket, the integrity of the tournament in place. And if they still, give the Big West champion a 14 seed, the WAC champion, I don't know if there's going to be a WAC anymore. But you know what I'm saying? A 14 seed. And they have their opportunities. I'm getting there. How do you feel? Because it sure does feel like the NCAA tournament is going to expand. 505-246-0610. Come on in, Denny. Little baseball last night. And what about Bronny James? We talked about him as in relationship to Charlie Woods. What are him and his agent doing? What is that strategy? Does it seem to work? It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Hour.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready.
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
In New Mexico for 5 years running. It's the OD in the AM with 3-time New Mexico Sportscaster of the Year, Jeff Symbieta and JJ Buck.
Big Thursday. What's up for you? It's the opening drive. Jeff Symbieta, JJ Buck. Glad you're here. Little opening drive in your ear. 95.9 FM and AM 610 Sports Animal. United get beat in a international friendly last night 4-2. If you're out there, would love your thoughts on the atmosphere. FC Juarez was the team who came in. It was 3-0 at halftime. Major substitutions. I guess FC Juarez changed out their entire starting 11. James, you normally can't do that. It's 5 substitutions. But in friendlies and things like this, you kind of make up your own rules. And guy gets a red card, you're going to be down a man. That's cool. Play 11. And then it got a little chippy. United scored 2 goals to make it 3-2 in the second half. And they'll be back to league play on Saturday against Switchbacks. Dodgers and Rockies last night up in Colorado. Rockies win with a walk-off sac fly in the bottom of the ninth. They beat the Dodgers. And Caitlin Clark had a double-double. And the Fever win their 3rd game in a row. They beat the Mystics last night. And Tiger Woods' son, Charlie, was the top qualifier for the U.S. Junior Amateur. So he's going to go compete in the USGA Amateur Championships in Oakland Hills next week, which is kind of a big deal. And all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, Junior USA Golf Champion, what is that? I kind of want to watch Tiger Woods' kid play. I think we all do. I mean, I'm interested. I want to see just the mannerisms. I want to see the swing. I mean, like I don't even know why I want to see Tiger Woods' kid play, but I want to see Tiger Woods' kid play.
Because that's something you can't fake.
Yeah.
If you want to be in X event, you want to be here. There's a couple I get in, do your father-son thing, but that is going to be on him showing he's good enough.
Shot a 71 after a double bogey start and won the event yesterday. And then there's another famous son who next Thursday will get drafted in the National Basketball Association. It's Bronny James. And I almost feel for Bronny James in some respects. You're like, how do you feel for Bronny James? He's got it made. He does. But he's going to get drafted, and I don't know what the right situation is. And listen to his agent, which is his dad's agent, Rich Paul. There's this notion out there that him and LeBron are a package deal. And the agent's trying to squash that notion. And basically, Rich Paul said that drafting Bronny will not ensure a contract with LeBron. He said if the Lakers can draft Bronny and LeBron doesn't re-sign, LeBron's also not going to Phoenix for a maximum deal. We can squash that right now. Well, agents play a big part. And this agent has gotten players in certain spots. This agent has also said Bronny is not going to go somewhere and sign on a two-way deal. Two-way deal means going back and forth to G League. Well, where he's projected to go, JJ, 55 to the Lakers, second. Those are two-way contracts, right? Those guys go up and down and develop.
They can be.
Often,
they're not.
Often.
But Rich Paul has negotiated other
that's right.
guaranteed contracts for second-rounders in the past.
That's correct. And they talk about how he needs to develop. And I think everybody, including Bronny, understands that he needs to develop. LeBron James, his dad, is 6'8", 250, 245. Physically imposing. He's massive. He's different. Bronny's not. Bronny's probably not 6'2". You said earlier he never played point guard. It's probably his spot. And I keep asking the question, how do you develop in the NBA, or how do you develop as a basketball player? Just by, because he's going to practice, because there's such grueling practices in the NBA every day? To sit on an NBA bench and make a contract, as opposed to go to the G League and play. How do you get better?
He is a prospect that needs to play, because a lot of the other guys that we see where you have this feeling of, oh, he's not good enough, what are you thinking? There's different measurables. Like if Bronny was 6'8" in this Raw, it is different than a 6'2" guy that has to start playing a position that he's not used to. You know, it's the Tony Snells of the world. Yeah. Heck, you can even go back to Pascal Siakam after he left. After his sophomore season in Mexico State, was drafted 27th. Like, you have different measurables, different traits where that makes sense, as opposed to this isn't, like, this is so raw. You're going to ask him to do something that he hasn't done a lot of, I'm going to assume, and that's playing point guard, because that's how he's going to have to break in.
But how do you break in if you're sitting on the bench, right? I mean, how do you, at the NBA level, Rich Paul says we want him to be coached up there by NBA coaches and not at the G League, and that's great. If you think that during the season NBA guys are going through grueling practices, like you go through camp, but they're playing 3 times a week, man, and they're traveling. They're going through get ready for the next game practices once the season starts. Is it osmosis? Is he just going to learn by watching? He didn't play a lot in college, man. It's not like he's got all this insane game experience at a similar level under his belt. I wonder if they're setting him up to fail. And that's why when I said I feel bad for the young man, I don't feel bad that he's going to sit on an NBA bench and make a bunch of money. That's good for him. I just wonder how sustainable that is. Because when Daddy's out of the league in 2 years, what happens to Bronny? Where's his NBA career then? And I don't know if he's got a long NBA career. But it feels that if you're telling me dude needs to develop, well, how's he going to develop and how's he going to get better by sitting on a bench, and then Daddy's going to retire in 2 years? Then why do I need a 6'1"?
Yeah, they're trying to talk around what they're doing. They're trying to protect and guarantee a spot for Bronny James in the NBA and say that they're not. That's what they're doing, because they're not letting him work out with anyone.
Right.
Work out with the Suns and Lakers.
That's it. Rich Paul quote, this is his agent. This is nothing new. The goal is to find a team that values your guy and try to push him to get there. It's important to understand the context and realize that this has always been the strategy with many of my clients throughout the years, especially those in need of development like Bronny. My stuff is by design. And I ask again, how are you developing by not playing? And there is no answer to it. Especially, to your point, JJ, if he's going to have to develop into a brand new position. They're going to get a coach, by the way, at the Lakers anytime soon? I mean, at this point, do you need to have a coach?
The Lakers, the Cavs,
and the Pistons.
Yeah. Right now looking for coaches.
Yeah.
James Borrego, JJ Redick.
Monty
Williams be the guys at the top of the list.
Does Monty Williams want a job?
Yeah, at this point, Monty Williams might just go on vacation for a little bit.
I mean, a few years, right?
Enjoy the $65 million that is still coming your way from the Detroit Pistons.
It's insanity. Let me fire you, but I owe you $65 million. All right, Carl asked me a question on Lobo football. He says, that wasn't Carl. Where's that is Carl. He says, Jeff, when do the preseason mags start hitting the newsstand? Lobo football's picked last of the table, right? There's Dylan Dampier and a bunch of guys I'd never heard of. They're already coming out. Phil Steele is out. There's a bunch of them that are already out. I mean, they are coming out. And yes, the Lobos were picked last. And Phil Steele. It's Devin Dampier. And I will tell you that just because you haven't heard of guys don't mean they're not good. I did talk to another coach, I think it was last week. And this is something, talk to Bronco about next time we have a conversation with Lobo football. This is somebody outside the program, but who's looked at that roster, said that their problem is going to be up front, that the lines aren't very good. Now, I don't know if that's right, if that's not right. That was this coach's perspective, that they may have some decent skill positions. They might even have some good secondary guys. This coach told me that his concern about New Mexico would be up front, that they're going to get pushed around. Now, again, I want to see that.
They're rebuilding what became one of the best offensive lines in the Mountain West Conference.
And then disintegrate. Completely went poof. It was all.
It's been a while since they've been able to find impactful defensive linemen.
Yeah.
To come to the University of Mexico. That has indeed been an issue. And that's also why you talk up so much of 3-3-5 defense, blitz and this or that to overcome being small up front. Well, that's not the way it's going to look now. And it is the ultimate wait and see, because we haven't seen a lot of it. There's so many new pieces. And I know we were talking some of the early win totals coming out, 1.5. Bet Online just put out their Mountain West win totals, Nevada and New Mexico, both at 2.5. So a little bump. Is this gonna have that
2.5 make you think differently? I mean, 1.5.
That 1.5 was just like that hurts so much.
2.5 make you feel better?
2, you're like, yeah.
I mean, does that make you feel better?
Yeah.
All right, I got to get out of here. JJ's going to take you the rest of the way home. Hit him at 505-246-0610. What do you got coming?
Got Jeff Grammer coming up.
Oh, I know that dude.
We were hitting, doing something, and I was like, well, let's just do it now because I'm standing here in the production room. So.
All right, Jeff Grammer's next with JJ. Hit him with some Lobo basketball stuff. It's the opening drive on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Hour.
This is two.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is Pro View. From pros to prep. All your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on Pro View Networks.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hey, look, it's Dwight Goodman.
This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom. Boom.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
These days, it's important to know people and businesses you can trust. There's a lot of places where you can buy a vehicle, but there's only a few local dealerships where you'll find honest people who have your best interests in mind. And Fiesta Kia is one of them. We've been helping our neighbors save money and drive dependable cars for years, and we'd love to help you. With new Kias arriving daily, you'll love our selection and the peace of mind you'll get driving a Kia from Fiesta. So stop by and see us today at Fiesta Kia on Lomas, or just start driving now at fiestakia.com.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
OD in the AM, what it do? Rolling along on a Thursday. And what I appreciate about Mr. Jeff Grammer is going to join us next. He is willing and ready. It doesn't even matter if he's looking to get away. He can never get away. And when you are in need, he will step up and help you out. Welcome back, Opening Drive, here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. Simbietta bounces. And as you know, it is a rule on this show. If one Jeff leaves, another one has to come in. Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, with us now. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm feeling good coming in from out in the bullpen. I got the Jeff relief duties going. I'm ready to go.
And you are just that. And I know we'll get to it at the end, but always appreciate the time. And as we've seen, man, and like there's no such thing as an off season anymore with what any of us are doing, especially when it comes to college athletics. And we're not going to get into your transfer portal, NIL, this or that. I do want to get into, I think, what is going to happen is something we've been discussing this morning. The expansion of the NCAA tournament that was presented to officials on Wednesday. So we're looking at potentially going from 68 to 72 or 76. And this would just be, of course, adding to what would become maybe the first 8 or first 12 model. So this feels like it is going to happen. What do you like or dislike about that for the NCAA tournament?
So the dislike is easy, and when you really think about it, it's kind of silly how much I think all of us dislike it for this reason, but I think we would all agree that we dislike it because it messes up our bracket. And that's almost the only, I think that's really the only thing you can talk about disliking is it's just, we like our 64 team bracket. Well, guess what? It's actually a 68 team bracket, so it's already kind of messed up with those, you can call them play-in games or whatever you want to call them. It's technically a round in and of itself, but those extra 4 games right now kind of already mess up the bracket. So as long as it stays in that realm, which is what they're looking at, where it's just basically the winners of a couple low major teams play the 4 1 seeds. If it stays in that realm, I guess I'd be okay with it. The positive side of this is it expands that bubble a little bit, and more teams get a piece of that pie, which is a cash cow for a whole lot of programs. Remember, FBS money and football money is different than college basketball money, but there's 130 FBS programs in the country. There's 363 college programs that play Division I basketball. They want to get a cut too. They're not getting that FBS money, an awful lot of those schools. So I do think that it's inevitable because the school presidents and the ADs all want a little bit more of a chance to get in. Now, a lot of people kind of dismiss this as, well, it's just going to be more SEC teams and more ACC teams, and that may end up being true, but the math plays out as it at least gives everybody a little bit more of a chance to get one of those unit shares, which really helps some athletic departments.
Yeah, like last year's, if they had this format last year, it might have just been the Mountain West Tournament 2.0.
Right.
in the play-in. Now, for me, when you look at the first 4, I've been someone that actually like it for the 16 seeds, and I know it's kind of 50-50 when you look at college basketball people and how they feel of, hey, if you're a 16 seed, you should be put into that bracket and play that 1 seed, but it gives them kind of a stage to themselves, an opportunity to win a game, and I got to believe that they make this move. We'll probably see all 16 seeds in a play-in scenario.
Yeah, I think that's probably the way they go with this. As you pointed out, right now there's 2 16 seeds that play to try and play the Midwest number 1 or whatever region, and then there's 2 other 16 seeds. But then the other 4 teams are the final teams in, right? Like the final at-large teams. Boise State was one of those last year. Boise State's actually been in that play-in game. Or no, I'm sorry, Colorado State was in it last year. Boise State has been in that play-in game multiple times through the years. But anyway, if it's all 16 seeds, I think you're right. I think giving them a national stage, even though it's not as big as that the first Thursday and Friday of the NCAA tournament, it's still a national stage that programs like a couple years back, there were some New Mexico connections on Texas A&M, Corpus Christi. They're not getting that stage very often, right? But not only that, it gives those small programs a chance at an extra unit share, which is the money part, right? Because the win in that first play-in game does get you another unit share. It does get you more money. So, yeah, I think if they expand it and just made it for all the 16 seeds, I think that would be the way to go.
Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, joining us. And we've seen so much change in college basketball over the last few years. Does this at all, do you think, impact the way teams go about scheduling, or is that still kind of what we expect is going to be a challenge for kind of everyone outside of the power conferences in basketball? Because what we've really seen, is try to get into an MTE. Maybe you're going to have to play a tough one-off road game or 2 and then get what you can. But how do you see the scheduling playing out if the tournament expands by even 4 to 8 teams?
That's a good question, because I think the expansion, if you can get yourself into the conversation as a bubble team, right, like New Mexico did last year, we know now that they wouldn't have even been in had they not won the Mountain West tournament, but they were certainly in the conversation. They were actually in that conversation 2 years ago until a late season loss against Air Force and then the home court loss against Wyoming, and those were just obviously 2 horrible losses. But they probably did enough, barring 2 really unique losses 2 years ago, to be in that conversation. So as long as you get yourself in that conversation, a little bit of expansion of the field you would think would help. So maybe in that regard, you would think, oh, you don't have to tweak a whole lot. But I think what happened to the Lobos last year tells you, expansion or not, it forced, Richard Pitino's hand a little bit. Whether or not he was going to go this aggressive, I don't know, but last year made him go this aggressive. This is going to be one of the top handful of non-conference schedules the UNM Lobo program has ever had in terms of whatever metrics you want to look at. I know the net rankings haven't been around forever, but if you look at teams and where they're going to be kind of and projected to be in the net, this is probably going to be, it could be as much as the second toughest non-conference schedule they've ever had. I do know, based on some research, I know Steve Kirkland's already already done because we've been talking about this. The 1988 non-conference schedule, that was the year they actually beat number 1 Arizona in the pit, was probably the toughest. There were some other power conference, they weren't really referred to as that back then, but there were more power conference schools on the schedule. But UNM notoriously, it's not just recently, notoriously UNM has played very weak non-conference schedules. I know there's some sort of revisionist history that people remember these great teams coming to the pit through the years. Maybe once, maybe it was a lot of conference teams, but the non-conference schedules for UNM have notoriously been very weak. And I think Richard Pitino kind of overcorrected a little bit. They're going to have some losses this year because he's really actually scheduled pretty tough for the roster he has. But he did that because the committee made it very clear last year. We almost don't even care what you guys do in the Mountain West anymore. We only want to see what you do in the non-conference. So I think even with the expansion, some teams have already kind of taken last year's message from the committee as you better find a way to just go schedule tough.
Jeff Greimer, Albuquerque Journal with us. Now, one of the things that Jeff Symbieta put out there, and he might have heard a word or two, and I'm interested to hear what you have to say on this. If they, of course, expand the first 4, they might be looking at other sites. And do you think the pit could play into that? I know there's been so much discussion over the last however many years about the challenges in the pit and does a court fit for the NCAA tournament. But if this town could become a first 4 site, would you take that yearly exposure versus once every 5 to 6 years getting first and second round NCAA tournament games?
Yeah, absolutely. If you could, I think you take it. I think there are going to be some real limitations, real challenges, I would rather say, to UNM getting that bid, primarily for TV purposes and accessibility. Remember that the pit is not ADA compliant. You can't get a wheelchair down there. You can't get TV crews in and out really quickly. Those are all real factors, right? And that's part of the 10 feet around the entire court. But if you can get it, if you're UNM, I think you take that absolutely, because you're not ever going to get a first-round venue again. But if you look at the geography and the TBT, when it came here a couple years ago, that's the summer tournament, the $1 million winner-take-all tournament that's coming up next month. If you look at that, when they were kind of expanding a little bit locations, they needed some geography. They needed a place on the map out west for all these teams, and that kind of fits the same sort of scenario here, where you can go out to California and get one of those first 4 locations maybe, or you can kind of go a little bit more east towards Texas, a little bit more, I don't want, obviously not Midwest, but towards the Midwest. And I think the pit kind of fits that geography pretty well. So would Denver. I don't know if they want to play. They have played in Denver. There's not really a host team per se in Denver. You can call it Colorado if you want and say they're the host team. Colorado Buffaloes, that is, in Boulder. But the pit would make sense. There's some tradition there, and I just don't know if the venue really fits what the NCAA is looking at.
He is Jeff Greimer of the Albuquerque Journal. Is going to stick around with us one more segment because we're gonna have some more fun too. I got some questions about a player from down south and where he ranks in a program's history. And you taking the over? You taking the under? It is the opening drive. We continue after this here on 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This is
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Like and shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
A burglary takes place in the United States approximately every 15 seconds. International Protective Service is your answer for commercial and residential security in all of Albuquerque. IPS will work with your monitoring company for fast, reliable response times. You can rest easy knowing you, your family, or your company is watched over by International Protective Service. Call International Protective Service today.
or surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
If you're drunk, blasted, intoxicated, ripped, plastered, destroyed, bruh. If you're like this, you shouldn't be driving.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
Hi, my name is Daniel Chavez, and this is my business partner, David Chavez. We are the owners of Indeed Safety. Indeed Safety is a local safety consulting company helping our clients with their safety needs for their projects.
One of the things we pride ourselves as a construction safety company is helping our men and women in construction get home safe every day to their families.
Back at it, opening drive. JJ Buck with you. Traded one Jeff for another Jeff. Continue with Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal. Now, this team was in the Eastern Conference Finals thanks in part to a trade that they made. The Indiana Pacers acquired Pascal Siakam at the trade deadline. They give him a 4-year, $189.5 million extension. And, Jeff, one of the things that I've been thinking about, do we, as a basketball state, now, give Pascal Siakam enough credit for playing 2 years at New Mexico State?
No, probably not. I mean, it's funny you're asking me this because just yesterday, Lucas Pierman, our sports editor at the Journal, and I, we're kind of talking about the best pro players, not necessarily the best college players in each program, but the best players who had pro careers from New Mexico. And we kind of started piecing together a list. He's going to put one together, I think. And, yeah, I mean, Pascal Siakam right now, in terms of best pro careers from people who had New Mexico ties, he's probably already, you can argue right now, already number 3. Certainly in terms of money, but that's kind of a weird way to look at it. He's already going to be the richest because of this contract. And that's just because the salaries have just blown up since the Kenny Thomas and Danny Granger era and even the Luke Longley era. And he was well paid, obviously, but like the salaries have blown up. So Pascal Siakam is about to be the richest basketball player with New Mexico ties in history, being from New Mexico or going to one of the universities in New Mexico. He's already there. So, yeah, I think we probably don't talk about him nearly enough in terms of sort of claiming our own, which New Mexicans love to do. I know I always like pointing out, New Mexico's own. Anytime there's a sports figure that does something, famous or well. And there's part of that's the Lobo-Aggie rivalry, and we're in the Albuquerque market, so it's dominated by Lobo fans, and they kind of want to dismiss New Mexico State a little bit. Part of that's the case. But part of the case, too, is I think for some reason we just sort of overlook the fact that this guy right now has a chance to become one of the best basketball players in New Mexico history in terms of connections to New Mexico.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I understand the rivalry standpoint from it, but you've tied in Siakam is already an NBA champion. He's made all-star teams, all-NBA selections. Like, he is on path, to be the best pro that has played, whether at UNM or New Mexico State. And I just, think it's fascinating, especially with what you guys have been doing over the last, couple of weeks, when you have the stories on, players that are playing professional basketball, and a lot of the Lobos right now are overseas. When you and others in the Journal department are doing stories like that, what do you take from it? And what are you looking to get across when you kind of are saying, hey, here's what some Lobos are doing?
Well, obviously, from a real basic, journalistic standpoint, there's interest in the where are they now kind of stories. It's better actually when it's been a few years and it's almost not front of mind kind of name that pops into a reader's head and kind of say, oh yeah, I remember him. What's he up to? And so there's some basic interest there. But also when you cover a program like the Lobos, that is at the front of, the passion level of a lot of sports fans in this market. And there's towns and college programs across the country that would love what the Lobos have. And as an Aggie, I know there's Aggie fans that just hate hearing that because they have it to a certain extent, but it isn't quite what the Lobo fans have. The Lobo fans are, we're ranked top 25 in average home attendance for over a half century when the Pit opened in 1966. Like there is an interest level to Lobo basketball that doesn't equal the success on the court, and there are programs across this country that would love that. So we kind of make it a year-round beat because there is interest year-round. Some of our most read stories in the last 2 or 3 months have been Lobo basketball stories, and they haven't played since March. So, when we're doing those kind of where are they now stories, part of it's just the basic natural where are they, people are curious about what happened to players they once followed. But part of it too is there is an appetite for Lobo basketball in this community year-round, and the numbers show that.
Jeff Graham, Albuquerque Journal, join us here on The Opening Drive. And I know another thing that you're big into, you are a numbers guy, and you do like messing around with whether it's flipping the coin or looking at some of the over-unders. And I know Sean Ryder, the beat reporter for the Lobos, just had a big podcast out with Bronco Mendenhall, and you might have mentioned some of the win totals for Mountain West football teams. Did any numbers jump out when you're looking at some of the totals coming up for next year?
Well, let's just start off with the Lobos. I think 2.5 is a number. If you go through the schedule, I get why the odds makers are doing that. I know some even had them at 1.5, which would be an even better bet. I think they would go over 1.5. But I think they're going to go over 2.5 as well. I just think the history of Bronco Mendenhall is worth taking into consideration here. He's only had one losing season in his entire coaching career. He's a guy that can, I think, solidify in some ways. Let me back up. When he brought his entire coaching staff in here, this isn't entirely a rebuild in terms of what fans think of as a complete rebuild, right? When you have your entire coaching staff, from tight ends coaches to special teams coaches, all on board with Bronco, when you get your next job, tell us where, and we will be there. And that's what he has here. They are all already on the same page. We think of it in terms of just the roster and the players, and it is about the Jimmies and the Joes and not just the X's and the O's. I get all that. But I think people are kind of overlooking the quickness that this turnaround can happen with when you look at the coaching staff and the connections to Bronco, and they've all coached with him before. I think this is going to be a little bit quicker turnaround than people think. I do think 2.5 is a bet I would go over with for the Lobos. I don't know that I'd go much more than that based on the schedule, but I'd go over for the Lobos for sure.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting point you make too on the continuity of the coaching staff, because I think that gets lost a little bit in the conversations we have because we're so caught up on the transfer portal, immediate impact, NIL money. Do you have it? Do you not? But you still have to have the element, especially in college football. Because we saw it last year. Say, even look at Colorado, like with what Deion Sanders was trying to do, right? He had all the hype coming in, a bunch of transfers, and they won 4 games. And so there's still an element, even in this era, of being able to coach and develop. So I think that's a really interesting point. And to me, this is one of the biggest unknowns that we've had in a long time with Lobo football, just because of the amount of turnover. But having confidence in the coach to this level, I don't even know if the fan base felt that when Bob Davie was taking this team to a bowl game.
Agreed. Yeah, I think that, and I will say, your Colorado point just a second ago is good. They had the players, right? How many stars? If you add up all the stars on the roster, they had a lot of 4 stars. They had some 5 stars, and they won 4 games. But it's partly because Deion basically started from scratch on a coaching staff where he was just picking guys around the country, picking them up, and the continuity wasn't there. I do think that that's worth a win or two in and of itself, is when the coaching staff is this on board with one another. But I don't know when the last. I'm trying to think, kind of scrolling through history, when people talked about confidence in the Lobo football program, when it had to do with the actual coaching staff. Now, people may have loved Bob Davie. People may have loved DeBesse when he was the offensive coordinator and all that, and certainly loved Danny. Everyone loved Danny. But I don't know if the confidence in the entire staff was where it is now. And I just think that's worth a couple wins. And people, we get caught up in talking about transfer, like you said, transfer portal and players so much. I think people forget, like, in college athletics, the coaching staff matters quite a bit.
It does. And if you look at that number, the 1.5 to me was almost like stealing. If you could get that somewhere. All right, 2 for Lobos. 2.5. It's the reality of where they are, and we'll see if they can hit those expectations. Man, I always appreciate you stepping up, helping out, dropping takes, dropping knowledge, and enjoy your time. Get some
Absolutely, man. I appreciate it. And, not really much of an off-season anymore in this college athletics game.
All right, man, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later. That is Jeff Grammer, Albuquerque Journal, joining us here on The Opening Drive on 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal.
Indy Safety is a proud supporter of ProView Network.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you. I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
Albuquerque's leader in sports is ProView. From pros to prep, all your favorite action. All your favorite talk shows. Find it on ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom. Boom.
Seriously? You expect me to drive while you aren't wearing seatbelts?
What's the worst that can happen?
Seriously? Buckle up.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your surprisingly great rates, contact your local State Farm agent today.
If you want the real deal, call State Farm agent Marty Size in Albuquerque today.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
For your business or your home, Valley Fence stands alone. We're #1 in New Mexico for a reason. It's the best fence you can own. Proudly serving New Mexico for over 50 years. At Valley Fence, the difference is clear. No fence too big, too small, or difficult. We handle them all at Valley Fence Company.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
Don't sacrifice quality and flavor when you're in a hurry. Golden Pride offers ribs, fried chicken, red and green chili breakfast burritos, and Frontier sweet rolls. 4 great locations, or visit us online at goldenprideabq.com. Golden Pride Barbecue Chicken and Ribs are proud supporters of ProView Sports.
Rudy's is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
Teenagers love a party, especially during prom and graduation season. Often, alcohol is involved. Some parents think that hosting a party with alcohol in their home will keep the kids safe, but it's wrong and it's illegal. As a parent, to allow your teenagers' underage friends to consume alcohol on your property is a felony. Parents who host lose the most. Don't be a party to teenage drinking.
This is a program of the Drug Free Action Alliance. For more information, go to burnco.gov/do-not-host.
We here at Clark's Pet Emporium welcome you to bring in your pets. We know that having your pet with you makes the experience of shopping for them even better. And we welcome you to bring your kids also. Clark's Pet Emporium, your pet's second best friend.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. International Protective Services is a proud supporter of ProView Sports and New Mexico Youth Athletics. IPS provides residential and commercial security services in the Albuquerque metro area. For more info, please call 505-897-2420 or visit internationalprotectiveservice.com.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team is going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Try this shit better than all my intentions. attention, shorty, you got my attention. CEO, baby, I give you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
Hi, I'm Steve Stucker here for Dr. Robert Melendez and the Juliet Eye Institute. You may remember me like this, but no more. The glasses are gone. I tossed them months ago because of a brand new procedure from Dr. Melendez known as RLE, Refractive Lens Exchange. The latest technology, the best eyesight I've ever had in my life, and you can check it out by clicking on the link in the description right here.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures.
Tomorrow will be the final installment of Kicking It with Kenny. Kenny Thomas, the Lobo legend, former NBA forward, will join us at 9 a.m. And what a fun year it's been, especially with the way Lobo basketball played. Mountain West champs, getting in the NCAA tournament and getting an opportunity to talk with Kenny Thomas throughout the entire season. And it's been fun talking in the NBA postseason. And we're going to hit Kenny with a lot of look-back stuff, how he feels about the season as a whole for the Lobos, the future for UNM, especially looking at that non-conference schedule next season. But what I really want to get into is the off season and what is going to be the difference makers this summer. We saw Boston, how it wasn't just about the moves they made. They built that team because their stars, their superstars in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were homegrown players. And then they were able to go out and use pieces that they had, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, and turn that into Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis to add to that. So who can add? Because you have to have the base. Because I don't think there's a player this summer, even on the trade market or in free agency, that is going to change a team that doesn't have a base. So who are those bases that could be added to? The big name to watch is going to be Paul George. Paul George has a player option with the Clippers, but he hasn't accepted it yet. And all the reports are that Los Angeles hasn't been that willing to go in on Paul George. It sounds like it's probably going to be James Harden that they go with, and they're going to go forward with Kawhi Leonard and James Harden because Harden is an unrestricted free agent this summer. So Paul George can decline his player option and then go look for an extension elsewhere. And so many people have been connecting the dots with Philadelphia and the 76ers. And could that be a dynamic duo that makes a difference in the Eastern Conference? Because that's going to be the challenge. It's not that Boston isn't good enough. Boston is good enough when we talk about multiple championships. Because the last 6 years, there's been a different NBA champion. Now, the Celtics have been right there on the doorstep. We're talking 6 of the last 8 Eastern Conference Finals. 1-1 in the NBA Finals over the last 3 years. But remember after last year's finals, Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, the Nuggets, they're going to run it right back. Then you get to the Western Conference Finals. I think the Celtics are a different animal with their depth, and they have one more ridiculous year left in them. Before then, they have to deal with what's right around the corner. Jaylen Brown is already making a Supermax contract. Jason Tatum is eligible to sign a Supermax. And what that means, we're talking players $300 million. And that would go into effect after this upcoming season. So Boston, they're good. Now it's how do you run them down in the Eastern Conference? Can Joel Embiid finally find a player that they can get to that next level with? And we talk about homegrown for the 76ers. Well, Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, is that pretty good dude? If you bring in Paul George, you have the base and then a legitimate 3. Paul George could be the 2. Tyrese Maxey as your number 3. That's conference contender status. A healthy Milwaukee team. Because the numbers, if you look them up, when Giannis and Dame were on the floor, they were one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. But the best ability is availability. Being there for your team. So I'm excited to talk with Kenny Thomas tomorrow. It's our final installment of Kicking It with Kenny. That'll be at 9 a.m. He's in studio. We'll look back on the Lobo season and also ahead to a summer where the Lakers still have to make decisions with their head coach. The draft is right around the corner, and while it's not a star-studded draft in a lot of people's opinions, there's going to be players that matter. And what do the next couple weeks look like with NBA free agency and the draft coming up? And also, really excited as well to talk with Nick Nee from Sando Golf Club, the head golf pro out there, about what we saw happen at the U.S. Open, DeChambeau, Rory McIlroy, and moving forward. And Rory's lack of accountability on Sunday, but then coming back with a statement throughout the week. And, of course, help your golf game because it's time to get on the course. So looking forward to that tomorrow morning right here on the opening drive. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I know you're going to be tuning in as we got you covered starting at 7 a.m. So the hoop season never sleeps. And I'm sure, too, Kenny is going to have plenty of thoughts on the news that has come out this week with Rich Paul speaking. Of course, Rich Paul, the agent for LeBron James. Rich Paul, the agent for Bronny James. And how the Lakers handle this time right now in their franchise. Do want to thank Jeff Grammer from the Albuquerque Journal hopping on. Had fun talking about NCAA tournament expansion. And could Albuquerque work as a first four site for the NCAA tournament? We got the Jim Rome Show coming up next. Colin Cowherd at 1 o'clock. 2 men on at 4. Isotopes continue their series in Oklahoma City tonight with Josh Sushan. I want to thank all of you, Adrian ProView Networks. Always appreciate the work that you do. And we are back with you with award-winning radio tomorrow at 7 a.m., everybody. I'm J.G. Buck. Metal World, peace and love. Have a great day.
Great futures start here.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible.
We aren't all born with the same opportunities. But it's the people who care that change everything.
Get ready, Sprout, get ready!
My coach, my teacher, my older sisters, my grandma, my brother, my tutor, my dad, and my mom.
As New Mexicans, it's up to all of us to do our part.
So that no child goes without love.
And no family has to do it all on their own.
They're all our children. Every single person is called to make a difference in the life of a child.
It's up to all of us to do our part.
To pull together.
Pull together.
Pull together.
To make New Mexico the best place to be a kid.
Young driver, this one. Hard to get her out. She'd been drinking. This one. Both of them gone. They'd been drinking, and he drove clear off the road. This was my family. Drunk driver hit us. And my wife and our daughter, they didn't make it.
What's going on, Lobo Nation? Ja'Cory Krosky-Miller here.
And I'm Devin Dampier. The Lobo football team's going through some changes, but we're here to stay.
We'll put in the work on the field and in the weight room, but we'll need your help off the field.
505 Sports Venture is leading the charge in the NIL space.
And you can be part of it.
Shorty, she better than all my intentions. Locked in, shorty, you got my attention. See your baby, I get you the business. Touchdown and pay you a visit.
I was born in New Mexico. I grew up on these streets. I got in trouble here, and I fought my way back in boot camp. I love New Mexico, especially the people. Now I'm using my training, tenacity, and energy to fight for you.
I'm Adam Oki, lawyer, fighter, and New Mexican. I was a local athlete here in New Mexico, so I'm proud to support your local athletes.
We would like to thank the following sponsors for making this broadcast possible. Everguard Roofing and Solar. For nearly 20 years, Everguard Roofing and Solar has been working with New Mexicans to enhance their homes and businesses. For all your roofing and solar needs in New Mexico, call 505-821-9543.
Hey, look! It's Dwight Goodman!
Boom! This place is hot. Let's see if anyone needs my help. How about I drive you madman home, huh?
I got this, Dwight. I'm the designated driver. Boom.
Sweet. Does anyone need Dwight's help getting home tonight?
No thanks, Romeo. I've got a taxi all lined up.
Drive safe, Dwight.
Boom! Boom!